Good afternoon, Tony Dottino, founder chairman of the USA Memory Championship. And with this level of sadness that I do this live with Tony this afternoon, talking about one of our incredible team members, Ned Pinson. I was on my way to leaving Windermere, Florida on May the 1st to go to East Stroudsburg to go to Indiana University, Pennsylvania, to see Patricia Pinson graduate her master's degree in strategic communications. And so was up in New York when I received a phone call on Sunday from Karen Pinson, Ed's wife, advising me that she was not able to get him to wake up or get him out of bed on the Sunday morning of May the 2nd, or May the 1st, I should say, and was calling the ambulance. So hopped in the car with my other half and out to East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. We drove to be with Karen on the full day of May 1st, and to find out that he was succumbing to his bout with cancer and heart issues and all the things he suffered through and he struggled to deal with, and still kept his mind focused on what he could do to help us with the Memory Championship. And anytime we needed help or had some discussions that we couldn't agree on, we would pass it through him, and he always had the most sensible, logical advice. And so we're going to miss him big time. I know Karen and Patricia will miss him big time. He was an incredible resource and a phenomenal human being. And I got to see that through all of the Facebook postings that we received from people who competed in the Memory Championship, who got to know Ed and his sense of humor and his brilliant acumen about how he worked to make the Memory Championship a phenomenal event and fair to all of our mental athletes. And so anyways, from Ronnie White, who just had a great respect for Ed, as Ed had for Ronnie, and Chester Santos sent a picture along with Ed and he in a hat that was just, again, brought back a lot of memories. And Nelson Dellis sending in notes back, and Frank Felberbaum. And what was common is everybody recognizing Ed's deep voice. He had this deep voice and had a command of the audience as we started each of the different events of the competition and how we would pass out the games. And so, and then he was a Tea Party guest at our 22nd event we did here in Orlando, October 1st. So what a tribute to the work that he did in helping us over the years. And we will miss him. But what was important to me is seeing all of the empathy, the sympathies that came back from people in our memory world and military people that he worked with. He was a master of, they call EOD, which were explosives, ordnance, and dissolution. So I've learned that he was a master at that and did that as well as anybody had ever done it. So he had an amazing gift of talents that people just didn't realize, because he was so humble and so low-key about what he was able to do and his accomplishments. He let his actions speak for his words, and his actions were just always had integrity and always had a great deal of respect and admiration. So it was with a level of sadness in his passing, but also some level of with the hurt and the pain that he had to go through as his cancer reappeared 14 years later. So, boy, what he's had to endure over these years and what I've watched and observed, and never complaining about it and just always straight up. Boy, I got to tell you, call me a crybaby. I could never imagine how he was able to do what he did. And so to that regard, growing respect for what an incredible human being he was and how gifted he was and the lives he touched and the people from military to the USA Memory Championship mental athletes, what an impression he made. And people talk about his deep voice, and as he gave instructions out, and his deep voice would command the room, and we'd get on with one of our events during each of our championships, whether it be the qualifying events or even at times he was our judge for the finals. And we had people up on stage, and he was the arbitrator that would sit there at the table and command it. And eventually Karen took over some of those duties. But Ed was always in the background. He was always there for us. He was always somebody that we looked to and leaned on for help and advice and opinions, and always balanced in those opinions and views. So it's with that out of grieving and sadness that our next USA Memory Championship will be missing one of our key players. We are beginning our qualifying events at the end of July, and we'll have our finals in most likely Orlando, Florida area on October 1st, where we'll bring our finalists from the qualifying events and bring them to Orlando again. And he will not be with us this year. So that's going to be a big miss as people come to find out one of our team members has moved along, and we pray for him. He will be, there are no services planned for him at this point. He has been cremated, and his ashes will go to the Arlington National Cemetery, which he has so richly deserved as a result of his military career. And the committee has decided that we will have a tribute to him and miss him. So you can tell I'm not my usual bubbly self, but boy, did he leave a lot of wonderful memories for the Memory Championship, a lot of wonderful memories for his wife and daughter. He left a lot of memorable memories with people that he worked with in the military. And so the testimonials just continue to come in to Karen, and they are just beyond what I think people would have imagined or realized as to who he really was and what he was able to really accomplish. So with that, I'm not going to go into any of the brain exercises or fundamentals today. I'll be back on tomorrow and try to pick this up and get it back into a flow. But I did want to take my next Live with Tony and pay the proper respects and the proper tribute to a missed team member that will certainly have made a difference in making the USA Memory Championship as successful as it's been for so many years. And certainly Karen is equally amazing. She just has no end in sight for her passion for the event and wanting to make it something that touches people's lives and makes a difference. And to that degree, her and Ed had a common bond of wanting to do the best they could be and do something that's going to make a difference in people's lives. So that is my broadcast for today. It's an unusual Thursday event. I actually did this last evening and my Facebook froze, so I get to do it again on Thursday afternoon. So I will be back into my Friday spot tomorrow. Have a good evening.